Get in the know. Non-stop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
When I tell you guys I love you, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I will ride with this group until they don't let us play anymore games.
By the way, you can get your shameless plug here. Your official I Will Ride With This Group Purple Daily swag over at ScoreNorth.com/shop. That's ScoreNorth.com/shop. I know someone who's still riding with this group. He's got the flag in his hand. Let's go. This is Purple Daily, presented by Quick Trip, daily Vikings entertainment where we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. And it's much more likely today than it was yesterday morning, waking up before Monday Night Football. A shout out to our friends at Summit Orthopedics here, gentlemen. Quick thank you to them for being on board here at Score North. And if you're dealing with any type of pain, maybe you're questionable for, weekend activities with a hip, a shoulder, a back, whatever it is, knees. No referrals are needed, and they offer same-day appointments at Summit Orthopedics. If you're really hurting, they also offer walk-in orthopedic urgent care starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. 25 locations across the Twin Cities and greater Minnesota. Learn more at summitortho.com. That's summitortho.com. Boy, the Viking situation has changed in the last 24 hours. 48 hours if you want to count the Lions getting thwacked by the Ravens. But just specific to the Vikings themselves, they were staring down the barrel of a 2-5 start, and now they're 3-4 after just going toe-to-toe. Not a fluke win, legitimately punching the San Francisco 49ers out. So what do you do with this? What do you make of this? Okay, we've explored trade options on this show. We've started to close the casket on this team. What do you make of the Vikings' current situation?
You know what? I think there's a theme developing, an unforeseen theme, because at the time I didn't think it would be a theme that could transfer to the success. But just as we said, when we banned the word tank on this show, and we called it an opportunity for improvement, because the opportunity was, hey, if you could trade guys, especially on expiring contracts, if you're not going to re-sign them, there's an opportunity to make trades to get collateral back. But why not flip that word opportunity and take it to the present right now? Which is, if you look at the upcoming schedule, opportunity knocks again. Question is, are the Vikings going to answer it? Because you got 5 of your next 6 games are against teams below 500. I think the only team that's not is Atlanta, which is a tough game on the road, but they're like 4-3, so it's not like they are unbelievable. You beat a really good team last night in San Francisco, and to your point, Phil, I love the fact that you came out and you punched first. You punched them in the mouth. You basically said, you know what, you're a bully, and what do you do to bullies? You go after them. And the Vikings did exactly that. They were like, bang, right on the schoolyard. And I don't condone fighting, but sometimes it's necessary to set a tone. So I think the opportunity here right now is, okay, if you take this seriously and week by week, because if you lose on Sunday, now you're like, oh boy, here you go again. And you're trying to, you're constantly trying to dig out then. But this team started 0-3. They are now within a game of 500. And this is the opportunity to dig out fully and change the path of your season. So I'm going to take the word opportunity and take it from, hey, you might want to trade some guys, to opportunity to actually make some noise.
So according to the Tankathon's strength of schedule situation for the rest of the NFC North, the Vikings have the 24th easiest schedule. The Lions have the second easiest. So as of now, they only have to play one more team that has a winning record. Again, as of now, they still have to play the Vikings twice. They still have to play the Chargers, who are really good, or better than, I guess, on paper, maybe their record is. But if you're the Vikings at this point, can you keep pace with those 2 games by the time you play Detroit the first time? Like, the fact that those 2 games are right at the end of the season, and we all thought going in when we were picking schedules that probably divisions will be decided in those 2 games. Can the Vikings at least keep pace? Can you have at least a game behind? Can you like be right where you're at right now? Or you're 2 games back, but can you go into that first Detroit game being a game back with then you having controlling your own destiny essentially to potentially steal the division from Detroit? So the Vikings still have a little bit of a tough test. Obviously, the Bengals will be good, and it's not a complete easy just walk-in path. But man, it makes life a lot easier, especially if you get back to 500 against the Packers this Sunday.
Kind of feels like we should pick the schedule right now.
I thought about it too.
Should we do it?
I thought about doing it too. I almost suggested it. We should do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So when you were off on, was it Thursday or I think it was Thursday, we did a little bonus. Can't remember what day it was. One of the days last week, we did this exercise. We felt like, we listened to the feedback here. We are a show of the people on Purple Daily. And there was a huge faction of Vikings fans that were, listen, I get it. You guys you're planning trades and you're talking about the season kind of being over and whatnot. But what about the fans that want to root for wins? Can you please try to find a positive path for us? This was before the Niners game. So Judd and I did the episode last week. We said, let's find a path to 9 wins. And, half the fans, I think, were, all right, this is great. Yep, this seems realistic. And the other half were like, why are you even entertaining this premise? Well, now it doesn't look so. And we even had them losing to the Niners and still getting to 9 wins in our scenario. So now that they've won this game, let's just start with Week 8, Green Bay Packers. The Vikings are 3-4. We'll go around the room. We'll see what we end up with for a win-loss. This isn't like you have to get them to 9 or 10. It's whatever you want, wherever you think the season's going to go now. All right. At Green Bay.
I'm going
keep track of your own, by the way.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to say now that's a
you
tough
weren't going
game.
to, were you? You did the math.
That's a tough game. No, I was not going to, but now I will. I'm going to say win. I think they ride the momentum of the game last night, and I don't know how this Packers team is going to respond now. Like, are they going to punch back like the Vikings did against San Francisco, or are they going to look at that Denver game and their quarterback being shaky at best, and are they going to say, yeah, you know what, we're just not that good? So I'm going to give the Vikings a win. Not easy, by the way.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Dex?
I have it as a loss. Packers right now are 1-point favorites. They're reeling, but they're going back home. This is the easiest part of the Vikings schedule. But I can't say they're just going to completely run the table between now and Week 15 when they have to play the Bengals. There's going to be a loss on this schedule. And I'm going to say it is this Sunday in Green Bay.
All right, I'm actually going to, because I think we need to know. There has been, last year, I think only one team won their game the week after playing the 49ers. It was some crazy number, they were like 1-16 teams that played the 49ers the following week. So I think we should get that information here before we proceed forward. Now Cleveland beat the Niners last week, and then they came back. Their defense was atrocious against the Colts.
Yeah.
And a backup quarterback, Gardner Minshew. But Cleveland won the week after playing San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Pittsburgh beat the Browns the week after playing San Francisco. The Rams lost. The Giants lost. That's 2-2. But it's not. It looks like it's not as much of a thing. I mean, the Cardinals lose to everybody, so they don't even really count.
And don't forget too, I think one of
the Cowboys bounce back. That's 3.
I think one of the nice things about what the Vikings did last night too is they took the play to San Fran. I feel it's more like if you get your butt kicked, and it's. But I felt like the Vikings actually did the butt kicking more than San Francisco did.
It's a win.
Okay.
Give me a
win. I think the Packers might, it's a weird league. Might be totally wrong. Crazy league. I think the Packers might be close to cashing their in.
I think so.
They could be.
Bad. Yeah, I think Jordan Love's not that good. I think there's a lot of question marks there. I think there's a lot of uncertainty there. Like the Vikings have uncertainty about the future as far as their roster construction, but I don't think the locker room is uncertain. You know what? You might not love Kirk, but at least Kirk is incredibly solid. What's Jordan Love?
Yeah, well, he's just kind of a guy, right? He seems like he's a starting quarterback.
He's
but
meh.
Yeah. It's so hard, dude. Also, like, I'll admit, my radar from week to week on what the Vikings are going to do has been wildly off. I thought they would get smoked by San Francisco.
You thought they beat Kansas City, and they almost did, but yeah.
It is a very trap game like feel in that it's a short week. It's the Packers. You're going to Lambeau Field. You're coming off this big emotional victory. It's like it feels like a letdown in some ways is on the horizon.
But it's go time.
It's also go time.
You don't give yourself here's the thing. It would be a trap game if you had gotten off to the start you should have.
Okay.
And then you beat San Francisco. It's go time. Like, guys, if next
burn
Monday,
the boats. They're going to Green Bay. They're burning the boats.
If next Monday they're 3-5, we're gonna be eating some difficult conversations for breakfast
before the Tuesday trade deadline. Yeah.
Well, and now you're 3-5, and now it's like, well, was the San Francisco victory sort of more of a fluke than we thought it was? Yeah. It's go time.
Okay. All right. At Atlanta.
This is where I will give them a loss because I do agree with Dex. I don't think they're going to just run through this schedule. Atlanta's 4-3. If the game was here, I'd almost certainly say Vikings win, although they have lost, 3 of their home games. I'm going to say this is the loss, though, because I'm probably not going to predict a loss for a little while after this.
Win. I don't buy the Falcons, even though they're in an incredibly weak division. Their defense is better than maybe people give it credit for, but like Desmond Ridder has been nothing special. In fact, all of Desmond Ritter's wins this year have been game-winning drives. He has 4 game-winning drives.
He's a turnover machine, dude. He fumbled the ball at the 1 on Sunday.
And then, I don't play fantasy football anymore, but like Arthur, didn't he like bench Bijan Robinson or something, or like wasn't utilizing him in the first half? What was it?
He was sick. He was supposedly
sick. Okay.
But they didn't turn in the information to the league, and now they're being investigated.
Even more buffoonery that's happening in Atlanta. So that just it's a win. It's
fair.
A win.
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Atlanta's a tougher, sneaky beat. That I guess I'm going to say loss, but what I'm really going to say is they're going to lose one of these 2 road games coming up. So it's kind of a cop out, but I don't know that they're going 2-0 on the road here. Back home against the Saints in Week 10.
Win. I think they beat the Saints at home. I think they got some of their home mojo back. And I also think for the first time in 3 home games that the place is not going to be packed with opposing fans. Dude, the Niners fans last night were incredible.
Yeah, they're all over the place. Yeah.
They are so loud. And like Phil said, when you saw them downtown, they were, I don't know that there were as many of them as there were Chiefs fans, but they were sure as hell louder.
I was on the plaza for like 2 hours before the game, just mingling with Vikings fans, and don't do that, Judd. Don't. That looks weird.
Drinking?
I don't want someone to meme you, and it's very memeable, and now it's probably going to get memed.
I'm okay with that.
It doesn't do what you intend it to do, and like someone could frame you. We're looking out for you here.
Okay,
but there was a lot of red jerseys on the plaza last night. I would say like 25% of the jerseys were red jerseys. Are you okay, Declan?
Yeah, I was looking at a stat that I thought blew my mind. That was all that was.
Okay.
And then also Judd processing what Judd was doing.
For the audio audience, drinking out of a can of seltzer or beer is when you're not actually holding the can.
Okay,
don't. Okay, now this game might not actually happen on a Sunday night against Denver. It's a Sunday night football game now. But
I didn't give you my pick for the
okay. Make your pick. Go.
Saints game.
Sorry,
that would be a win for me. So it's just a win. It's a win.
So we're all
against
wins.
the Saints.
Okay, so it's all a win. Saints win. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Denver on the road on Sunday night. Maybe Sunday night. We'll see.
This is a win to me. I mean, Denver did beat Green Bay, but that's a really weird team. They're no question in my mind not as good as the Vikings are. So this is probably a tougher game, but I'm going to give the Vikings.
Yeah. No,
even though you're right, it won't be Sunday night probably.
This game will get flexed. Now get ready for a 3 p.m. start. Declan?
Loss.
Wow.
I don't really love the Broncos either. Not a big Russell Wilson fan. Not a huge Sean Payton fan. But I think winning on the road and just assuming, again, wins is a dangerous game. I think there's a stumble here. They lose in Denver.
Fair enough.
It is a game that it's so easy to just sit here and be like, it's a win, right? But the Broncos are relatively well coached with Sean Payton. They seem to be getting more competitive. Their defense has been largely a disaster, but the Packers couldn't move the ball against their defense. So, God, I have to give the Vikings a win here. I don't think this is a letdown game. So, I'll take a win here for the Vikings.
If Russell Wilson was still Russell Wilson, I probably would agree with Declan, but he's not.
So that gets us to another game that probably gets flexed. We'll see. Right now, it's a Monday game, Week 12 against the Chicago Bears. Judd.
Mm-hmm. I can't pick the Vikings to lose this game. I'm going to be picking a loss here soon, but it's not going to be the Bears. I know they just beat Vegas and the new QB who might still be playing. Who the hell knows is a good story, but I'm going to go win for the Vikings.
Put some respect on his name.
I can never remember his name. I keep thinking Pageant.
I
keep thinking Pageant, but anyway, all right.
The beauty pageant. Yes.
Win for the Vikings.
Mm-hmm. Win for me as well. They take care of business at home against Chicago, whether it's Monday night or back on noon with like the, fifth ranked Fox crew, wherever the heck. I don't know who gets the game if it gets flexed out of Monday Night Football and back.
Who is their fifth crew now?
Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I do not know. Probably Brady Quinn. Is a Brady Quinn involved, or is he higher up on the pecking order now? I forget. Regardless, it's a win. It's a win at home.
All right.
I feel like something weird's going to happen in this game.
Uh-oh.
It just feels like the Bears have gotten the offense going a little bit, with or without Justin. They've gotten it going twice with Justin Fields. Now they've gotten it going with a backup quarterback. And then all the different things the Vikings threw at the Bears. I guess that's the saving grace. I'm going to say it's a win. This game gives me a little bit of weird vibes. Can the Bears adjust to some of the Vikings ran the same blitz at them, as Alex Boone pointed out, a million times, and it fooled them almost every time. Can they adjust? But I'm going to go win here as well.
Okay.
Now it's a bye week, and we're into December at Vegas coming out of a bye.
Loss. I think this is a loss. This is not a great team that they're playing by any means, but it's a road game. It's after a bye, which can help, but also can hurt a little bit. Inevitably, to Declan's point, there's going to be some defeats on the schedule still, and so I'm going. This is a loss on the road.
Wow, out of a bye.
I have this as a win. Josh McDaniels is just an utter buffoon. I know he has like a ton of money locked up, and they cannot. Well, they could fire him, I guess, but they will eat so much money. I think he's not a great head coach. So I think coming off a bye, even though it's on the road and there's the lure of Sin City there, it's still a win for me.
It's a win for me, man. Like you're coming out of a bye against that team, like that. And I agree. McDaniels is not a good coach relative to the rest of the NFL coaches. It's funny, you pull a coordinator away from Tom Brady for 10 or 15 years, and maybe he's not as much of a mastermind as you thought. Same for Belichick, by the way.
I've got him on a 4-1 stretch, though, and I think they get a little cocky and confident.
That's what I'm trying to balance here. It's like, okay, your mind says you should throw a loss in, but dude, the opponents are not good. That's the thing. Like, what you're doing is you're putting in a loss because you think you have to, not because you think the Raiders are going to beat the Vikings, right?
No, I'm putting in a loss because when I watch this league week to week, I can't figure out half the time what the hell is going on. So, like, yes, I look at teams that I think they suck, but then I watch games and those teams win.
Yeah.
So it's it comes back to the fact that so many teams are much closer grouped than we probably would like to admit.
They definitely are. Yeah, I'm not going to dispute that. I would say that I think they're more likely to lose at home to Chicago than on the road at Las Vegas at that point in the season, but we'll see. So, on to Cincinnati. At Cincinnati in Week 15.
I think Joe Burrow's going to be recovered by this point from his injury that has plagued him since training camp. Cold weather game in Cincinnati. I think the Vikings lose this game. It's a 2-game losing streak.
Yeah, the Bengals, like everyone was freaking out about the Bengals' slow start, which last year, I'm pretty sure they did the exact same thing. They started 0-2. Burrow had a ton of interceptions. Now Burrow wasn't hurt, but now the Bengals are they might be back a little bit. They battled a little bit here. So I have this as a loss. I am curious on when this game's going to be played, because I think right now it's completely TBD. It could be a Saturday game, could be a Sunday game. Is this a game that gets moved? I don't know what the primetime, I guess, game is for Sunday night, but is this like a Saturday night game? I don't even know.
Yeah.
But I think this is going to be a loss in Cincinnati regardless.
It's listed as a Sunday game with no time.
Right now, yeah.
Oh.
Have they announced this?
No,
There
it
are
just
Saturday
says-
games, though, right? Have they announced what those
Yeah,
Saturday
I've got
games are?
the ESPN schedule has this slated for Sunday, December 17th,
Oh,
but with
okay.
no time.
Vikings schedule just says TBD for time.
You might be right
Time
then.
and date.
Conflicting reports. You might be right.
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't shock me because once you beat the 49ers, you can kind of beat anyone. But this is a tough one to say a W with. Especially if you're winning a bunch of games in this stretch, could you go in and now you're facing a real team here in December on the road? Bengals are heating up for a playoff run. So I will say it's a loss for the Vikings. So we all have that as a loss, right? Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
All
Yes,
of us.
we do. Yes.
Okay, now it's home against Detroit, the first Detroit game, week
Oh.
16.
Christmas Eve.
All right. This. See, I think they're going to split with Detroit. I think they're going to split with Detroit. And we talked about this last week. The question is the last game in Detroit going to be a game where Detroit is everything locked up and so they don't play guys? Or is it going to be a game where Detroit actually has to play? But you know what? I'm going to go with this being a third consecutive loss because I'm going to bank on Detroit having wrapped everything up by the last game and give the Vikings a win in that game. So I think this evens out as far as the series goes, but I'll say loss for this one.
Spoiler alert there. You just spoiled your week 18
Yeah,
pick
you did.
there, guy.
Well, I mean,
Boy.
I'm getting to a point here.
Declan?
Win for me. I think the comeback home, Christmas Eve, going to be another fun one. Second straight year the Vikings are hosting a Christmas Eve game, US Bank, which is cool. But I think they come out. It's your season's on the line here essentially, because basically, if things are playing out the way they are record-wise, if you drop this game, your chances at division probably are dead or close to dead. So I have it as a win, but it's going to be a dogfight as well. Right now, it's a win.
I know that it doesn't feel this way after Detroit got rocked by the Ravens and the Vikings beat the 49ers, but I still think Detroit is the class of this division. And it's weird to even say that out loud. Detroit is the class of this division. I think it's like the first time in my life that I've said that. I think this might be the crowning evening for the Lions clinching the division. So I'm going to say Lions beat the Vikings in this game on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
Okay.
And now we go home against the Packers on New Year's Eve, Judd.
Win. I think the Packers will have cashed it in by if I'm right about the Packers now, sort of having a lot of doubts about their season. If that is right, by Christmas Eve they are going to be on a mental golf course, not concerned about football. There will be business decisions made, not football decisions. Win for the Vikings.
Is
I
that
think
game
they
flexible? That's a Sunday night game, New Year's Eve, right?
No, I
You
don't.
looked
Yeah,
this
I
up,
don't know
right?
by that point. Yes, we looked it up. Christmas. Oh, yeah, Christmas Eve is set in stone. That's a good point. New Year's Eve, I don't know.
I think because it's a Sunday night game, I think that's flexible. There's no way
Okay.
they would keep that game.
I gotta
if-
look up
if
the rules.
Packers
I always
are-
forget what the rules are now, especially since now they got Monday flexing and all that.
Yeah. Okay. Declan?
Win for me as well. I have this as a win. Pretty similar reasons to Judd. They're at home. It's New Year's Eve night. I like that. It's a pretty cool atmosphere. Whether that gets flexed out or not, I still think the Vikings most likely win this game. So I do have it as a win. Looking at that Week 17 slate of games, there is a Bengals-Chiefs game that's at 3:25. Could that get moved, I wonder, to Sunday night? Really interesting situation.
Or
for
is
them,
CBS protecting that?
but-
Yeah.
or is that
could.
protecting that too?
But there's going to be a lot of division stuff. You could see like an NFC South game that's like, not sexy teams, but the division's on the line. I've got it as a win as well. That brings us to Week 18 at Detroit on Sunday, January 7th. Where are we at right now, record-wise? I've got them at 9-7 going into this game.
Me too.
8-8.
Okay.
8-8 going into this game.
All right.
They win this game in Detroit, and they finish the season 9-8.
I have it as a win as well. I have it as a win and an NFC North title. 10-7. Vikings win the division, and they beat the Lions. Vikings win.
Wait. Oh wow! So you have 10-7. You have them beating the Lions twice, or no? Twice?
Yes.
Sweeping the Lions.
Yes.
So the Lions would need to find 5 more losses. So 2 against the Vikings. The Lions would need to find 3 more losses on the rest of their schedule. Okay. Well, at Dallas could be a loss.
Could be a loss.
At Chargers, then but then it's Vegas, Green Bay, Chicago twice, at New Orleans, Denver, I guess. Wow.
New Orleans could be tough.
The Lions only finishing 10-7 and then losing twice to the Vikings is a hot take. I would say that's a hot take.
Huge disappointment.
I mean, they should still celebrate like getting into the playoffs for the first time. I mean, it would, starting 5-1 and trouncing a bunch of teams and then finishing 10-7.
Yeah.
I have it as a win. In my scenario, the Lions have already clinched the division, and they're not really even taking this game seriously because I don't think they're also fighting for the number 1 seed in the conference. But the Vikings are fighting for a playoff spot, so the Vikings would be the team to me that is more motivated here. They win this game, and they finish 10-7 and get in as a wild card team. So Judd's got them 9-8. Declan and I have the Vikings 10-7, but Declan has 10-7 being good enough to win the division. I've got 10-7 as a wild card. Wow.
And could even be a situation where, I mean, Vikings Lions on wild card weekend could 100% be back in play. That could easily be whether who's hosting or not. That's different. Obviously, I am the winning division, so the Vikings would host in that situation, of course. But I wouldn't be shocked at all if these two teams met in the wild card round either.
So
amazing. Okay.
So
go
10-7 as a wild card for you would have them probably as like a 6 seed. 9-8 if they snuck in would probably almost certainly be a 7 seed.
Yeah, it depends on how the sort of the muck of the NFC sort of plays out,
Yes.
But it is amazing how one game, and I don't think it's an overreaction to say that game changed the path that they're on last night. Now, if you lose to the Packers, like Judd said, it opens up another conversation with 24 hours before the trade deadline. But just incredible how that victory and the way that they did it changes the way that. And I'm curious to see how much did it change your perspective, listeners too, and viewers of the Purple Daily YouTube channel. Are you sort of looking at this team differently than you did 24 hours ago? Maybe we should actually do our own little experiment with our Pigskin pecking order and see. We'll do that, and then we'll do Judd guesses the PFF grades, and we'll see where we have the Vikings ranked. But let's shout out our friends over at Livia, helping a lot of Purple Daily and Score North listeners lose weight over the past couple of years.
Yeah, told you the story. I think it was last week about Steve, who sent in a note that he's lost 98 pounds with this program. Consulted me about a year and a half ago. Said, "Does Livia Weight Control Centers work?" And I said, "Look, it helped me drop 40 pounds a couple of years back. In fact, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, you're looking at Sports Dad on the left, Sports Dad on the right. Yep, 40 pounds down. Steve, again, almost 100 pounds. Livia Weight Control Centers, it works. And right now, there is an offer on the table that is going to make you want to stop procrastinating and get in contact with a program that's going to help you with a weight loss journey. 3 months for free. That's right, 3 months for free. So this is the time of year where you can hit the couch. It starts to get cold out, but you know what? Why not instead lose the weight and get in those clothes that don't fit? 855 go LIVEA, Livia.com, LIVEA.com, inside the state or out, because the whole thing can be done virtually. Livia Weight Control Centers is going to work for you like it has for so many others who watch Purple Daily.
Ugly Deck can work for you as well. All right. There's still time here left in this beautiful fall season to get your deck in order going into next year.
Ugly Deck is a great name, but what's funny is it's not really about an ugly deck. It's about a beautiful deck. You start with the ugly deck, and then you end up with, look at these, some decks that are absolutely gorgeous. And if you want a deck like this, uglydeck.com right now, offering what they're calling a Reserve My Deck package now special for the DIY owner who wants to build a deck in the spring and save huge. This is only for a limited number of customers who reserve their deck package now. Uglydeck.com offering up to $1,000 off a full deck package, plus lock locked-in 2023 pricing. Uglydeck.com will deliver your deck package to your driveway by May 1st, so next spring, and you will save as much as, get this, $10,000 on your deck build. Remember, with Ugly Deck, you get free plans, a free coach, access to their online deck build academy, and they will install your footings and ledger. You do the rest. You save huge. Go to uglydeck.com today. Hit the Reserve My Deck Package Now button. And you know what? Ugly Deck's going to help you end up with a beautiful deck.
Was anyone ballsy enough to put the Vikings in your top 10 in the pigskin packing order? That's what I want to know. We're going to go through our top 10 teams. We all rank 10, and then we put an aggregate together, and then we'll tell you where the Vikings rank. So let's go through here. Number 1, collectively, we have the Kansas City Chiefs as the best team in the league, and that was uniform across the board. All of us had the Chiefs number 1. Okay, number 2, the Philadelphia Football Eagles. You guys both had the Eagles number 2. I did not. I had the Eagles 4. 3, Baltimore Ravens making the biggest jump in the pigskin pecking order.
Impressive.
I had the Ravens 2. Declan had the Ravens 3. Judd had the Ravens 4. So all of us are very high on the Ravens. San Francisco jumping down to 4. These are all really good teams here, and this could change week to week. Miami Dolphins at 5. Jacksonville Jaguars up to 6. Detroit Lions punished a little bit. They were in the top 5 last week for us. They're down to 7 after that butt kicking in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Buffalo Bills, another kind of weird loss. They're down to 4-3 now.
I'm down on them.
Yep.
I'm just down on them.
It's kind of a weird vibe there. Dallas Cowboys are 9. They had a bye week. And then the Seattle Seahawks, just an interesting anonymous pack of Seahawks, flock of Seahawks.
Pete Carroll, man. Shout out to Pete Carroll. I thought you were done 2 years ago. This guy does a great job. Like,
he does,
they
man.
just win.
He chews gum a million miles a minute and gets his team fired up to play football.
Does a hell of a job.
Geno Smith's been probably better than Russell Wilson the last couple of years. Not probably. He's been better than Russell Wilson. The only other teams, so you guys had the same 10 teams that you see here, just ranked a little bit differently. I had 9 of the 10, with the Seahawks at 11 for me, and the Browns I still had at 10. A weird way for the Browns to win with Deshaun Watson going out. And then that game wound up being like almost 80 combined points between the Browns and the Colts. Where do we have the Vikings? I've vaulted them from 18th to 12th. Declan has them 16th. Judd has them 18th. So we've all moved them several notches up from where we were last week.
Yeah, they'll take a big jump in mine if they can beat the Packers.
Yeah, I think so.
That's what I'm sort of holding over their head currently. Beat the Packers.
If they beat the Packers pretty impressively, let's say it's like a 10-point win or something, and they don't have a lot of blowout wins, as we've gone over a lot in the last few years.
Right.
I think that would get me, depending on what some of the other teams do, I'm very close to putting them in the top 10 based on analytics and their win over the 49ers. If they follow it up with a win against the Packers, I am very, very tempted to do something crazy and put them in the top 10.
If they beat the Packers, I'll probably get them to where you have them now.
Okay.
Probably about 12th. Very much on the sort of Cousins top 10 thing, where he's on the, he's about 10, maybe a bit below. But I mean, they've got an opportunity right now to vault themselves within the next month into the top 10 pretty easily.
Yeah, go take care of business.
I mean,
Go
you
take
do
care.
have a great.
What's the early line right now?
You got a great
Packers
chance.
by 1.
Is it Packers 1?
Yeah.
Packers by 1.
Which I wonder if it's. I wonder how much that's going to move.
It's going to. It's going to move toward the
Oh
Vikings.
God, yeah, yes.
Don't you think
Definitely
it'll be
will.
like Vikings will be like 2-point favorites, 1.5, 2-point
I think it'll
favorites by the time
definitely
that
move
game.
towards the Vikings. Yeah, because they're trying to give the Packers a 1-point home field advantage, and I don't think it's going to hold.
Yeah, be super interesting. Do you want to try guessing some PFF grades here, Judley?
Sure. Let me pull out the stats from last night.
Okay, we're gonna
So,
put Judd's
I'm
old
looking at
grizzled
stats.
reporter
Were we allowed to do
hat
that?
on here. We're gonna have Judd and his eye test with those field goggles from US Bank Stadium go up
Yep.
against the Pro Football Focus video scouts or whatever you call them. We're
Field
looking
glasses.
for. We'll start with the offense.
All right.
We're
Yep.
looking for the best 3 graded players and the worst 3 graded players.
All right.
So you're trying to guess 6 players, and we'll give you 3 total strikes to do so.
Nice. Okay, Kirk Cousins for sure is one. Has to be.
Kirk Cousins. He was the 4th highest graded player for the Vikings offensively last night.
Did
A
PFF watch the game?
77.2 grade. Well, he did try to throw an interception at the end of the first half that Jordan Addison turned into a touchdown. So I think like that play, for instance, Kirk was graded well, but like that play, for instance, was a huge chunk of the success of Kirk, and Jordan Addison probably gets more credit. So,
And I wonder with
Yes.
the red zone failures too, how much that potentially dinged him. Like if one of those turns into a touchdown, it probably moves up a little bit, right?
yeah,
He missed the throw to Addison. That looked like it was his fault. The Madison play was obviously on Alexander.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's go back to the drawing board. Offense, Jordan Addison.
Jordan Addison was the number 1 graded offensive player,
Very nice.
84.9.
Christian Darrisaw.
That's the number 2 graded offensive player.
This guy.
Marvelous game. All right. I have 2 strikes left, right? TJ Hawkinson.
Wow.
I mean,
look at this run right
Oh
here.
my God.
Wow, what a run. So you got the top 3. Hawkinson was an 82.8, Darrisaw an 84.3, Addison 84.9.
Okay. Where to next?
The worst offensive players.
Alexander Madison.
He was kind of middle of the pack.
Oh, okay. All right. So now I'm at
60.3. Yeah.
Now I'm at 2 strikes, right?
Mhm.
All right, I'm going to go on a limb here. I'm not confident in this. KJ Osborne.
KJ Osborne was the 3rd lowest graded player.
Okay, so I'm looking,
56.9.
so I'm looking for 2 more guys on offense who had bad games.
One of these
Is
guys
this-
was a 53, and the other one was a 42.
Quick reminder for me: is this a snap count thing? Like, is there a certain amount of snap counts if they did not play that they don't qualify, good or bad?
We usually say 15. Play at least
Okay.
15 snaps.
All right, because Johnny
in this
Munt
game.
didn't play that many. Okay,
I'm going to give you half credit. Johnny Munt was the lowest graded player, but 8 snaps. So you're going to get half credit for that.
okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, one more left. God, is there any offensive? I mean, I feel like the offensive line played really well. But me, Ed Ingram.
Ed Ingram was the 4th lowest graded player for the Vikings.
Oh,
3
wow.
pressures,
Just
a quarterback
staple,
hit.
just a staple of the PFF dinging in the grades.
He's always floating around there. The other
Yep.
2 were Garrett Bradbury, who had a rough night in pass protection, and then
Interesting.
Josh Oliver actually was
Really?
dinged. He did not block the first play of the game. He did a great job kind of sealing off a 19-yard run, but he had a 42 overall grade and a 40 grade in run blocking. So not a great night for Josh Oliver.
He crossed my mind for a second to throw out there, and then I'm like, nah, there's no way.
Bradbury got pushed around a few times on those red zone goal line situations pretty badly.
Yes.
Yeah, the tush push, wasn't that the play that? Well, there was a play before that too that he
Yeah.
got beat.
Yeah, that was the one I said even to potentially grab for Boone. But yeah, there was a couple plays that were just he got pushed. And look, the 49ers defensive line's absurd too, so it's hard to block them. But yeah, you know.
Well, the red area, let's just say I think the head coach has to sit down and do some evaluating of himself.
Play calling.
Yeah. They need to get creative. And when Jefferson comes back, they need to get way more creative down there.
I agree. Yeah,
There's
Because-
ways to get around this.
because there's a lot of other teams have the advantage of a quarterback that can just go score a touchdown or keep something alive. Like you need to get guys. Kirk's not doing that, so you got to find ways. I agree. That's still one thing. If they're going to go on this run and get to 9 wins or 10 wins, like we're talking about here,
Yes.
they got to be a little bit more efficient in the red area.
And the low red, those two that they didn't get in, I think they were at the 2 and the 1.
The low red, the deep
The
red.
low red.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to be. I mean, you can't come away with 3 points when you're like. It's one thing to be at the 19, right? And come away with 3 points.
The shallow
it's another
red.
To be the shallow red. You got to be. Oh boy, you got to get the points.
Yeah. So now on defense, we're looking for the 3 best and 3 worst graded defensive players. You get 3 strikes to guess all 6.
Cam Bynum at the top, one of the top. He's got to be
number 1, 92 grade out of 100.
Just a heck of a game.
Cam was targeted twice. He gave up 1 reception, and then he had the 2 interceptions, one in which wasn't a target, but and then he also had 6 tackles in that game.
I feel like the safeties played well beyond Cam as well. Josh Metellus, another top one.
Josh Metellus is not correct. That's 1 strike.
All right. Jordan Hicks.
Jordan Hicks was the 2nd highest graded defensive player, 75.8.
Man, he has had a nice season. I got to give him credit for the old man's been used right, and he's had a really nice season.
He had 2 pressures, 2 quarterback hurries. He had a batted pass, 6 tackles, and a stop tackle in this game.
Okay, you know who else I thought had a really good game, especially in the first half? My third one for the top 3, Caleb Evans.
Nope, 2 strikes.
All right, let's do some of the bottom ones. Okay.
Yes.
Let's switch to from the good to the bad. Byron Murphy Jr. at the bottom.
He's a safe bet every week, pretty much.
Yeah, this has not been.
Kind of stinks.
This has not been what you. Well, on the McCaffrey touchdown run, he was the last guy. On the long McCaffrey touchdown run,
a lot of tackles too.
That was him.
Ugh.
Yeah, he missed 2 more tackles last night. He was 3 of 3 when targeted. So now you got 1 strike left. We're looking for 1 top performer and 2 bottom performers.
All right, I'm going to give you one more top performer because I do feel like the safeties played well. I've been confirmed on Bynum. I have been buzzed on Metellus. Harrison Smith.
Nice work.
Look at that guy.
There it is. Harrison Smith was the 3rd highest graded defensive player, 75.2. This game.
Forced the fumble, right? On McCaffrey?
Yep,
he forced that fumble.
He was credited with a forced fumble. He was credited with 4 tackles and just sort of being in the right place at the right time in the run defense.
Okay. All right, so now I have 2 left to get to the bottom of the list. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 2 left, 1 strike left.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with despite the fact he recovered the fumble, I'm going to go with a staple of the bottom of the PFF grades, Dean Lowry.
Wow, the Dean Lowry slander here. Dean Lowry is incorrect. He was middle of the pack with a 61.6 grade. You've already actually named 2 of them. The other 2, the 2 worst graded players in this game defensively were a Caleb Evans at 43 and Josh Metellus at 45.5.
Really? I thought
dude, it's
Caleb
so
Evans
hard with this defense to tell
some
what's
nice
happening.
plays.
Didn't they have 3 safeties on the field for every snap or something? Like
basically yes.
last night or something. I thought I
saw.
saw.
So they played.
And
how about
4
this?
at times.
They had 53 snaps on defense, and all 3 safeties played all 53 snaps. Cam Bynum played 53, Harrison Smith and Josh Metellus all played 53.
Wow.
Byron Murphy played 53, Caleb Evans 52.
Mm-hmm.
And
my guy Jackson played a few snaps himself.
7. He played 7
as a 4th safety.
Yeah, it's crazy. And Lewis Seam was a healthy scratch again.
Yeah, that's a sore point with fans when I tweet about it.
Well, I don't know, what it's.
It
is what it is, man. He had a 1st-round pick who's literally a healthy scratch 2 games ago.
I think there's a lot of people who think that because of the gruesome leg injury he suffered last year, that this year's like a get well year. But nobody, he's not on the injury report, and he told us in the spring, I'm fine.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think it's, by all accounts, it's less about his explosiveness and his physical status. It's more about just where to be, right place, right time, and
Well,
reading
and I think in
everything.
Flores' defense, as we're seeing, because the use of the safeties is so rampant,
Yeah.
and they're used as linebackers. I think they're asked to do a ton of mental gymnastics.
Oh, for sure. Yep. And you're
And so
playing
if
in
you can't do it,
places. Yeah. Think about like, and just like the space you have to cover and be right. Okay, we're gonna show blitz up front, and then we're gonna bail back and like bailing back into the right place. Like,
right?
so I think Lewis Seen coming forward as a missile can be really effective. But is the question with this defense is, can you also bail backwards and be in the right place and not get burned in coverage?
Well,
And you know,
and can you know when to do that at the right time? Because if you do it at the wrong time, you're just going to get burned.
so all right, wow, there it is. Little bonus episode here on this Tuesday.
All right.
The Viking situation has changed. Thank you guys for hanging out with us here. Purple Daily, daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. They're a little closer than they were 24 hours ago.